Fantasy Alarm TV. I am your host, Ray Flowers, your humble correspondent, I think some people say. I'm actually not corresponding as a writer, but I am as a talker today, so let's get right to it. Let's talk about that tight end position. Let's start with the number 10, as the number of targets in Week 5 thrown the way of Jacob Tamme. Now, Jacob Tamme caught 8 of those passes for 94 yards. A great effort. No one was playing him, I have to think. He had 4 catches for 77 yards in Week 2. I don't think anyone was playing him there. Do you play him this week? Tough. In the other 3 games this season, besides those 2, he's caught 4 passes for 27 yards. It's not good. Now, the game against Saints should be a high-scoring affair. There could be 800, 900, 1,000 yards in this effort. Lots of points put on the board. Sounds like Julio Jones is going to play on Thursday Night Football, though. That his hamstring is okay, that he'll be out there on the field. That's obviously a little bit of a hurt in terms of Tamme's outlook. It does sound like Leonard Hankerson's going to be able to play through his rib issue as well. That also knocks down the value of Tamme a little bit. You can try with Tamme in Week 6. I think that's a really risky play. 3 of the 5 games this season, he just simply hasn't shown up. Second number today is 5, as in the number of targets averaged per week by Richard Rodgers of the Packers. Now, I get why people want to play Rodgers. It's the Packers, it's Aaron Rodgers, all of that. But the guy's got no volume. He's averaging 5 targets a week. He's averaging 4 receptions, 31 yards, and 0.2 touchdowns. Doesn't get in the end zone, doesn't see looks, doesn't produce yards. Not really sure what all the hype's about with Richard Rodgers. The Packers in the recent past, even with Jermichael Finley, never really had that breakout season from the tight end. Just doesn't work that way with the Packers offense. And the final number of the day is 4, as the number of catches the last 2 weeks for Kyle Rudolph. He's got 21 yards as well. Now, this was supposed to be an offense with Teddy Bridgewater ascending. It's supposed to be an offense run by Norv Turner that favors the tight end. It just hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened. I don't know how anyone even has a remote inkling in their mind of playing Kyle Rudolph. At this point, I don't even think he should be on a roster, to be quite honest with you, in the majority of leagues, unless you're like in a 14-team league or something like that. The matchup with the Chiefs looks great on paper. Chiefs allow the most points to quarterbacks in fantasy. They allow the most points to wide receivers in fantasy, but they allow the 6th fewest points to the tight end position. Given how Rudolph has played of late, and given that matchup, it's still a no-go for Kyle Rudolph in Week 6. FantasyAlarm.com, that's where you should visit. Why? You can get free rankings for Week 6. They're right there, FantasyAlarm.com. I'm your host for the Big 3, Ray Flowers.